Once you're comfortable with centering, there are some things that I'd like to start to add into your vocabulary and into your practice in terms of how you make your cylinders. So let's go ahead and get this centered. If you have not yet watched the centering video and you're having trouble with that, please go back to that because it all starts here. You don't want to skip ahead. Centering is crucial. So you take your centered piece of clay and you're going to make a cylinder. If you throw your piece off center, when you open up, what we can do is something called annular centering. So this one, we are centering a portion of the donut versus centering the whole hamburger bun. So we're going to compress in. So the feeling is very similar to centering, but you're focusing your efforts right here. So compress in, have that other hand meet the top, slide down, and then compress the middle. Again, what that looks like this, compress across, press down, slide in towards the middle. Something that I would love for you guys to start adding into your practice of making cylinders is to compress the middle. And the reason why is because we took the solid lump of clay, we made a hole, we stretched it out, and so now we have to make sure that the clay that's left here on the base is nice and strong. So to do that, we're going to compress. You press down with the pad of your finger at 3 o'clock and you slide straight line right in towards that midpoint. So start at 3 o'clock, slide in towards that midpoint. You're not trying to thin it out, you're really just trying to press that clay to make sure that the clay is compressed. If you skip this step, you're more likely to get cracks in your piece as the piece dries and goes through the heat of the kiln. So it helps. The next thing we'll do before we start lifting is that we're going to start thinking about our pacing when we lift. If you start on the bottom, if you start lifting right as you make contact, chances are you're going to leave a little bit of clay down there inconsistently. So add into your practice to be mindful to press in along the base, hold there for a second or two, and then start to lift up. That will ensure that you are picking up the clay evenly versus touching down and then lifting right away. So hang out down here, make sure you really grab the clay and then start lifting up. The next thing I want to add into your practice is this rim. So you see how when you do these lifts, you get a little bit of slurry along the top. You can see it looks really kind of choppy. It looks like there's some height there, but it's really just slip. And so you should start to compress the rim as well. So we'll add in the gentle bracing fingers. We're not trying to pinch the clay to get it really thin, we're just trying to give the clay a wall on either side of the rim. And I'm going to take my other hand, little pointer finger, it's going to make a little A. Have the legs of the A bracing the walls of the pot. The other one is going to slide down until it touches the top and then gently compresses it. So again, you're not trying to pinch any thickness out, you're not trying to flatten out the wall. These ones are just to brace so that this compressing finger doesn't get too vigorous and start to smush out the wall like that. You're really just trying to hold things steady. So get in the habit of doing a pull, compressing the rim. Pull, compress the rim. Pull, compress the rim. If you're trying to get something that is really narrow, or if your walls just keep flaring wide on you, then get in the habit of doing a collar. So palms down, 4 equal distant points, compress it in, slowly let it go. So you get in the habit of doing a pull, collar, compress. So you do pull, collar, compress. And then there's your piece. So those are just some other things to add into your practice once you are a little bit more comfortable with the basic steps and the basic principles to really refine and help your pieces survive the whole clay process.